Good evening, and welcome to America's favorite movie talk show, The Talkies. Now, here's your host, Jonathan. Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to The Talkies, America's favorite cheat sheet guide to the movies. Now, sit back and relax while I go through tonight's cheat sheet with you in my own special way. So, tonight's talkie is the 1985 John Hughes film Weird Science. Stars Anthony Michael Hall, Kelly LeBrock, and Elin Mitchell Smith. It also features Robert Downey Jr. and the late great Bill Paxton. Let's get started with meeting the characters. Here's our lead characters, Gary and Wyatt. We got the love interest with Deb and Hilly, and the school bullies, Max and Ian. While sitting at home that night watching the movie Frankenstein, Gary decides he wants to create some AI, and he thinks Wyatt's computer has just enough power to do it. Now, the reason Gary gives this is so that he can put her in real-life sexual situations just to see how she reacts. You know, real sick, demented shit like that. Wyatt goes along with it because he can play chess with her. So in 1985, the only thing you need to create your own artificial intelligence woman is some nudie magazines, a dial-up modem, a plastic doll, some batteries, and the most important thing is to put a bra on your head. And yep, sure enough, it worked, because there she is. Well, now that worked, the next step is to take a shower with her and then hit the town. Now, after the shower experience, they get all did up in their fancy dress and go for a drive. It's at this point when they decide on naming the new AI woman they've created, Lisa. Lisa then drives them downtown to a place called the Candy Bar. Now that they have a pretty lady on their arm and some fake IDs, they head off to mingle with the locals. Now, this scene is chock full of quotable lines from the movie. Lines like, "Drink it. Hello, pretty lady. What's a beautiful broad like you doing with a malacca like this?" Oh, that sound means we have a cameo alert. Here we have Dino, played by John Capelos. I don't know how to say his name. Anyway, you may recognize him as the big oily bohunk from 16 Candles and the janitor Carl Reed from the Breakfast Club. She's into malaccas, Dino. Every damn night on the telephone? What's this boy talking about on the telephone, man? Of course we know there's a telephone. She did what? In the family jewels. Broke my heart in two. Broke more than your heart. Party's over. Now next we meet Wyatt's older brother Chet, who immediately extorts money from him for coming home at 2:30 in the morning drunk. He then offers Gary and Wyatt a nice greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray. The next day, Gary, Wyatt, and Lisa head to the mall. While Gary and Wyatt head to a department store to buy Lisa some perfume, Lisa heads off to a lingerie store to look for some lingerie in either some leather or barbed wire. While Gary and Wyatt are waiting for Lisa to finish up, Max and Ian let Gary and Wyatt know that there's a sale at Towel World. Yep. There's Deb and Hilly hanging out with Max and Ian, who are not impressed by what they've just done. Now, after Max and Ian spot Lisa on the escalator, they decide to chase her down and try to hit on her. That's right, we have another cameo alert. There's Darren Harris, who plays Cliff in the movie 16 Candles, just hanging out at the mall. It's at this point that Max and Ian realize that Lisa is actually with Gary and Wyatt. Lisa then informs Max and Ian that Wyatt's going to be throwing a big party at his house and tells them to make sure and spread the word. Now, since Gary and Wyatt don't have cars, Lisa has to go pick Gary up for the party, and she's super excited about meeting Gary's parents. While Gary tries to lie to his parents about where they're going, Lisa decides to tell him that she's whipped up a little soiree over at his friend Wyatt's house, and there'll be chips, dips, chains, whips, you know, your basic high school orgy type of thing. You know, now she's not talking about candle wax on the nipples or witchcraft or anything like that. Just a couple hundred kids running around in their underwear, acting like complete idiots. Now, as you can expect, Gary's parents don't take this news very well and freak out and threaten to call the cops. Lisa's not having any part of this, so she pulls a gun on Gary's parents and takes them to the party anyway. While Gary freaks out about these events on the way back to Wyatt's house, Lisa informs him not to worry about it, that they have no idea what just happened. Now, what she means by this is she actually erased Gary from his father's mind completely, and Gary's mother tries to explain to his dad who Gary is. Now, back at Wyatt's house, Gary and Wyatt try to explain to Lisa how they don't have any friends, and Lisa proceeds to tell them, well, you do now. Now, the party immediately erupts into madness and mayhem as about 200 kids pile in the house and start tearing it apart piece by piece. Now, on a side note, I don't know if you've ever been to one of these parties, but I have, and I have no idea how the party turned from peaceful gathering to absolute fucking mayhem. But they did. They tore these people's house apart, taking doors off the hinges. It was madness. It got to the point where the people whose house it was had to call the cops in their own party just to break it up. Woohoo, those were the days. Now, Max, Ian, Deb, and Hilly all end up at the party, and Max and Ian break off from the girls to try and negotiate with Gary and Wyatt to swap Lisa for Deb and Hilly. A compromise is reached when Gary and Wyatt decide they won't make that trade, but they will make Max and Ian a girl of their own. Now they get everything set up and ready to go, all the way down to everybody wearing bras on their heads, and then absolute fucking pandemonium breaks out. The sky turns red, the kitchen turns blue, the pictures come to life, people end up inside the TV. After it's all said and done, they think everything was successful, and then Lisa informs them that they forgot one small detail. They forgot to hook up the doll. As a result of this, they end up with a Persian missile in the middle of the house. While they panic out about what they're going to do about this situation, Lisa informs Wyatt that his grandparents have shown up, and she freezes them and puts them in the cupboard. Well, Lisa finally decides that she's had enough of them being cowards, and decides to whip up a post-apocalyptic biker gang to come in and make heroes out of them. Oh, we've got another cameo alert. That's right, it's Vernon Wells playing a very similar looking character to the one in Mad Max 2. Alright, now let's skip forward to the next day. Chet comes home from a camping trip only to find the aftermath left over from the party. Chet, of course, loses his shit and drags them all out of bed and down to the kitchen to find Lisa to find out just what the fuck happened the night before. Lisa then sends everybody away so she can have alone time with Chet and get things straightened out. Now, as you can expect, that negotiation didn't go well, and Lisa turns Chet into a big pile of shit. Now, this course of events, of course, convinces Chet to stop being such an asshole to his brother. Gary and Wyatt come back, say their goodbyes to Lisa. Lisa disappears. All the damage to the house magically reverses itself just in time for Wyatt's parents to come home to a nice, clean house. So there you have it. All's well that ends well. There's weird science for you. We appreciate you tuning in. My name's Jonathan, and we'll see you next time on the Talkies.